All right, so this is our drug safe. We've been waiting to see all this time. There it is, huh?
Yeah, it's just a small. It's like a handgun safe that you would put in a car or whatever. It's made to be portable, or to be stored in a small place and quickly accessed. It has RFID keys, so you can just swipe those over the thing and unlock it. Or there's a combination, or there's a traditional key, so you have multiple ways to get in.
So but, Nick, did they go to that safe location first when they went to your home?
Pretty quick.
They knew where they had been told where it was by someone, you think?
I've always suspected it. I could never prove it, but I always suspected it. I do believe that there's discovery that I did not receive about communications that happened prior to the warrants request and execution, mainly because the head officer kind of alluded to, he said, like, we've been after you for a while. He called April's parents the day we were arrested, and he said, we've been looking into Nick for months, but there's no discovery that was provided about any of this alleged investigation for months. So I'm not sure if he was just like blowing smoke and trying to get someone to talk, or if he was serious and they obscured they may not have provided us all the discovery. But they did not.
Well, I know it probably wouldn't be legal, but let's say Aaron just was like, hey, if he just gave him like, hey, if you go straight into the bathroom right under the right sink, boom. What if they maybe just kind of left out writing that part down on a piece of paper, and we're like, okay, well, we kind of know right where to go, but we're not going to write that piece of information down. I guess they could probably get away with that kind of shit, right?
They're not supposed to, but it's certainly possible. And, it's one of those things that you can speculate on, but you'll never know. So it's not worth thinking about anymore. Early on, I was so mad that I definitely wanted to find out what happened. You want to find out every single thing you can. You want to fight it. There is a strong sense of injustice. I still believe that the warrant, because I believe that there was information withheld from the discovery, I believe that the warrant is invalid. And I don't think they had sufficient probable cause. Because if you think about it this way, and I know this is going to sound really silly, but if someone does cocaine on camera, the presumption is not that there is cocaine remaining, right? Like, the cocaine is gone now. So it's if you see someone who has done cocaine, it's hard to say. It's more likely than not that you will find cocaine in their house, because the cocaine that you witnessed is gone right. It's a strange affectation of how drug laws are done in Minnesota, but I think really across the nation, you're punished for possession because they can't punish you for doing them. They have to punish the commercial aspect of it. So either the sale or acquisition of the drugs, or the possession of the drugs, is the only thing they can regulate and therefore punish with the Controlled Substances Act. And so if it's a dumb irony that if you just do all the drugs, they can't arrest you. Like, they can't charge you with anything if you don't have any drugs. So it's my fault.
Public intoxication or something like that. That would be about it.
You would have to. So in Minnesota, you would have to do some criminal act, like a disorderly conduct, an assault, something like that. There's no criminal charge for being high on an intoxicant of any kind, or being drunk, independently. If there's an associated bad behavior, of course you get punished for that, and that's kind of built into those. But you're punished for having them. So it's just a weird thing to think, like, if I would have just done all the cocaine, right, they wouldn't have been able to arrest me. That's crazy. Like, that's a strange thing. But because of that, it means that if they saw cocaine on my nose or whatever, they would have no reason to believe that cocaine is in the house, because it's gone at that point. It is done. It's not gonna be there.
Well, I just say all that because I just very well assumed that it was like 100% someone that had been inside of your home that really pointed them out to stuff. So, or told them everything that was going on. That's my assumption, but so be it.
Nick, I gotta ask you, bud, what the hell is the KKK on that one bag?
Ketamine?
Okay. Yeah, it's ketamine. So if you remember from my mugshot, I have a black eye. And right after my disaster stream, we would be arrested 2 days later. But right after the disaster stream, I went upstairs and like I was so I don't remember much of any of this at all. But I was so blasted and I was like, I'm gonna do a huge line of cocaine. And I asked April if she wanted one. She said yeah. And so I poured out 2 lines on the counter and they were substantial. And I did mine and I ended up falling. I didn't remember falling, but I ended up falling. And I hit my face on the counter. So that's why I had the black eye. April came into the bathroom and she's like, what the f- going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm laughing. I'm like, I don't know. Something. I just fell. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. She's like, all right. And she does her line. And she's like, oh, what is that? What is it? She's like, this isn't Coke. And I was like, what? And she's like, did you pour me a giant line of ketamine? And I was like, oh, no wonder I just fell over, right? Like I grabbed the wrong bag. And so then it was that from that point on, it was an adventure to try and get to the bed. Did not make it. We did not make it to the bed. Fell on the floor of the bedroom and just passed out from so much ketamine. It was a little ridiculous.
Wow.
She's like,
so you found yourself. Is that what they call a K-hole? Maybe that's when you passed out, you were like out of it for a minute. That's a K-hole.
Yeah, it lasts about an hour to an hour and a half. And
fun times.
But it really is. I mean, it's a hallucinogen, and
right.
when you're in those experiences, it's a full body hallucinogen. You feel stuff like your hands and feet, like you feel sensations, and they get really wild depending on what's going on. That one was so funny because like we were trying to get back to the bed, but your like legs stop working. They just wiggle, and we just fell over. And she was like yelling at me as she was passing out. She's like, you can't believe you did this to me, like, and it was
everyone was trying to say you got punched in the face or you got slammed by the cops, but whatever. I believe your story, man. The cops were awesome.
The cops were most of them were relatively nice, actually. The main cop was a dick, Pomplin. And the thing that was frustrating about him is like, he's like, I got you. And I'm like, I don't know what you got. Like, I didn't know you were after me. I'm not your rival. Like, I don't know who you are at all. Right. Like I'm just here. I didn't know you existed before today. And, but he's like, he's like, I got you. I'm like, okay. So he was kind of a tool. Most of the rest were professional. The like deputy sheriff was there, and he was kind of running everything. He wasn't running the investigation. He was just kind of overseeing what was happening. And people who worked with Kayla and stuff were professional. The only other cop that was a dick was the one who put me in the squad car, because he's like, all right, we're going. And I'm like, wait, like, do I get to say goodbye to my wife? Like before I go? Like, it's going to be overnight, I guess. And he goes, oh, you should have asked me earlier. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know you were taking me away, you asshole. And so he just turned around and drove off. So I was like, well, thanks. That was nice. But that was like a minor thing, but it was just kind of dickish. Like, cause he did it like an asshole. Like that was
I get how cops are, man.
So real quick, Nick, did you write KKK on that bag?
No, it was one of the women folk who did it.
Right.
I don't remember which one, but it was after the mix up of the Coke and ketamine. It was like, no one will mix it up now.
Right. Okay.
So that
explains why there's KKK on that bag then, right?
I see that there's 2 straws there, a yellow one and a black one. Which one was your straw? And did you ever double shotgun it? One at each nostril.
I never thought to double shotgun it. That would have been amazing.
It's fun.
No, I used whichever one. The one on the right, the darker one is metal, and it was much nicer to use. The plastic one is plastic, and so like if you're not careful with a plastic straw, it can kind of cut up the inside of your nose, which you've already got cocaine in there, so it's already like a little sensitive. But the metal one was really nice to use, so that's the one I would prefer.
The credit cards, are these the credit cards in question that were April's? These look like room keys.
That's a hotel room key.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, April's credit cards they're in a different picture, but they're in the bedroom. Like I said, there's some limits. I'm not gonna show the
Yeah, I
bedroom
get that.
pictures.
That's fine.
Yep.
The amount that's in that bag, it seems like a weekend for 3 for sure. Like
Yeah,
it's not an extreme amount of dope right there. So
it's really not. It probably would have lasted us 3 to 4 days, honestly, if we were doing it a lot. It would last much longer if if we weren't just blasting cocaine, right? If like again, if the kids are around and shit, you're not doing a bunch of drugs. But if the kids if they were going with the grandparents for several days, then yeah, that'd be 3 to 4 days of stuff. And I want to remind you that this is the amount that Aaron said was a laptop size amount of cocaine.
yeah, like a thumb size, you mean? Like a thumb drive, perhaps. Maybe that's what he meant. And no, that's not an extreme amount. And it is kind of funny that they knew exactly where to go to find it. I'm not a huge fan of snitches, man. And that's kind of what I see. That's what I see Aaron as at this point.
He's
and
proud of it now.
You're not perfect, man. Like you up, and I'm sure you would own like all of that stuff. You lost your kids. That sucks. Now you're paying the price for it, man.
Yeah, I'm keenly aware of how catastrophic my decisions were and that they're my fault. Like I know. There's just nothing you can do about it other than to move forward. So people are like, you need to know. It's like, I believe me, I've had a full education in how much I got it.
Do you think it's the streams that you did previously where you were like the trad dad streamer, you were the law tube guy? Do you think people kind of hold that shit over your head?
100%.
Yeah.
And it's
you get extra criticism for what you were before it all went down.
It's tough because I didn't try to tell people how to like live. That's just how I lived. Like this is just what it was. I was a Christian dad with 5 kids who homeschooled the kids, and I was a lawyer, and but I like to laugh at stuff and be a little goofy and drink whiskey. Then I changed. Again, it's been 7 years or almost 8 years now, but that's a long time. People change pretty dramatically over those periods of time. Typically about every 7 years, you're like almost a completely different person. And it happens in this case, it happened kind of really quick at the end of it, but it was a decent chunk of time that people saw me. And so, yeah, they saw 2 different me's. Some of them attribute that to like lying or deception. It wasn't intended to be lying or deception. I just changed right in front of people, and they didn't like the change, and I'm sorry. You get kind of wrapped up in your own things, and like I said, I have tons of explanations as for why I did stuff. They're not excuses. They don't make my behavior okay, but I have reasons for doing it, and people weren't aware of that because a lot of it's still private, and that's fine. That's how it should remain, I think. But if you don't, like, if you're a viewer, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so then you just, I guess you assume that someone was like lying to you or misrepresenting things the whole time. It's like, well, no, I changed. I made some decisions that I wouldn't have agreed with years before. And they burned me. They were all bad. Like they all turned out wrong. I was originally right. Go listen to the old me. Like listen to that guy. If you want life advice, it's way better than what I ended up doing. Like it was very, very destructive. And I had a lot of fun times, and my relationship with April was really wild, like and cool in a lot of ways. Like I really liked, I really loved her. That's true. It wasn't this tawdry, gross thing. It was a relationship, and like I didn't expect for anything like that ever. Like that was never on my menu. But then
did you love April almost as much as Aaron loved Kayla? Like him claiming what do you think about all that? Like him claiming how much he loved Kayla like a month or 2 after the arrest or whatever. He was looking back on Valentine's Day and what he bought her and how special all that shit was.
Yeah, So what I'm not gonna do is like comment on the nature of what anybody else felt like, because I don't know. You can only like, I can go off of what I read and what was said and stuff like that, but I don't really have any desire to do that, and it's not my place. It's not my story to
Fair
tell.
enough.
That said,
but you did have feelings for April. Go. You can get back to that. I just throwing you a curveball. That's all.
No, and it's fine. Like, I don't mind the question. It's just like there are lines I have to draw, on what I share. And mine is like, I'll share my perspective on things and what I did. And that's the best I can do for people. But it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't tawdry and cheap and gross. And it was very much, it came across like a normal relationship, and no one around us knew. There were some suspicions of what was going on, but the only people who knew anything were people that we, like, let know. Otherwise, these were just friends that we hung out with all the time. And yeah, like that's it.
Well,
Our kids
Nick,
had no idea.
I will say this. Do you kind of now, with hindsight, regret going on this little piggy, or at least with Kiki, and like allowing her to get you so mad? Because
no, I don't regret that at all.
You don't regret that at all? Okay.
No, I have so much worse stuff that I would say to her. There's no point in doing it because she's an empty husk. But no, my entire purpose was served. My purpose was I was going to yell at someone who hurt people that I cared about, and it gleefully continues to hurt both of them over and over and over. I think she's a garbage person.
So you just see her as a clout chaser type, or what do you think?
I think the biggest justice is that she married someone who's too old to see her grow up into the withered husk that she calls a mother.
Hey, Nick, that Joker portrait behind you there, the Joker, I heard that was worth $75,000. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't sell that yet for cocaine, so you didn't have a problem.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't really want to get into your finances, but you're not losing your extra home that was attached, right? That you were trying to sell Aaron. Like, exactly how did that work out, or can you comment?
So it's really funny now. The foreclosure thing was embarrassing, but the foreclosure thing was after I got arrested in May. I stopped working, right? Like, because of everything that went down. And I didn't know that my auto pay in June on my mortgage failed. And so they canceled the auto pay entirely. So I get a phone call in November. It's like, by the way, you're like way behind on your payments. I'm like, really? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, we haven't gotten a payment since June. I'm like, what the? So then they're like, you're in foreclosure. I'm like, oh shit, I've been going through like a lot of depression stuff because I got arrested and charged with all these drug crimes. It's really been bad news. So I didn't know that was going on. And so I had a couple options. I could sell some investments and like catch the mortgage up and then kind of get back into it. Or I could just sell the other house, which I had wanted to sell like 5 years prior. But we had people who moved in right before COVID hit. They had gotten evicted from their other place. They were friends of ours. And so we're like, oh, you can move into this place. And we were renting it for an absurdly low amount to them. And then they were supposed to stay there for 6 months, and they stayed there for 4 years until we eventually said, we need you guys to leave, because then April and Aaron were going to buy the house. Buying the house was another thing where Aaron approached me on it. And he's like, hey, that house is great and blah, blah. And April really likes it. And we'd like to talk about getting it. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I'll sell my house to my friends. That sounds awesome. But do
you think his intention was at that point the polycule was going good and he wanted to live right next door to you guys so that he could have April with him and do his live stream and not have to travel back and forth an hour?
I think that
already know he could care less about having his kids. I think the hour away from the kids, no problem. Hour away from April, a problem.
Yeah, I think that was it at the start. So that was around February when the talks about the house first started. And then in April, like after April left him, he was still talking to me about buying the house. And I said, don't worry about it. Like, your marriage is in shambles, brother. You need to work on that, because and not like, I think he thought that he would buy the house and like April would then fall back in love with him immediately. And I was like, that's not going to work, you know? So I told him, don't worry about the house at all. Like there's no reason to be doing it. Cause he had said, he's like, I'll just buy that house and I'll sell this one and whatever. And I'm like, you'll just buy that. I'll just buy a house. Like, come on. Let's stop pretending here. He would say weird stuff like that, but yeah. So once they broke up, it was over. But yeah, so then I had that house that was paid off and, I wanted to sell it for years. And it was like, sell that house and then just pay off the mortgage, because that's the only reason I had the mortgage in the first place, was because we kept that house instead of selling it right away to help out our friends if they just need to grab something quick.
Where do you keep the SpaghettiOs?
Behind where the camera is, actually, like where the guy's in the picture. If you were to turn around and look down, there's a cupboard right there, and that's where the SpaghettiOs are.
The SpaghettiOs, where Aaron spent all of his time pulling out cans of SpaghettiOs and feeding your damn kids, Nick.
He's such a hero with that story. It's so funny. He's like, they were so strung out on cocaine on a bed. I'm like, that's not how Coke works. Like, that's just not true. We were sitting watching Game of Thrones, and my 8-year-old comes up to the bedroom and she knocks on the door, because we're watching Game of Thrones. So you don't want to have kids walking in while someone's getting either sexed or murdered. Yep. And we're just sitting there, and she says, hey, can someone help me make SpaghettiOs? And he goes, oh, I got it. I was going to go like get a drink or get food or whatever anyway. So he gets up and goes there, and it's like, all right, peace. And he comes back, 5 minutes later, because he made SpaghettiOs. It doesn't take that long. And then the story he tells is like, oh man, they're all strung out on the bed and they can't move. It's like, what are you talking about? Insane person. But
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you got 1 billion books for your kids and shit to read, and magic cards and everything else.
We have 2 libraries. This is the one right outside my office, and then my office has another a comparable set of shelves,
like a law library for yourself or something.
No, I don't. All that's online now. I have.
You get a return to law?
No,
never.
It's
you
too
get
too much work, man. This is way better.
How about getting your bar?
I'll get my license back. Yeah. Once things settle down, I'll do my CLEs. I have to have like a week to do them, because it's 45 hours. And what I want to do is I'll need to do 45 hours and then 45 hours for the next session. So I'm done with it for the next couple of years. So I need 90 straight working hours to really hammer it out. I mean, if you want to share my screen one more time, I'll go through every one of the pictures real quick, and just people can then they can go and frame by frame if they want and see the EXIF data on it. I don't like, it doesn't matter to me.
So earlier, Nick, the reason why I was asking whether you would release the body cam footage is because you've already taken the step by showing these photos. You might as well at this point go to full hog and show everything. Well, I understand.
I might as well not, because again, my wife and kids are in the video, and the video goes into their private spaces and my private spaces, and so I'm not going to release part of it either, because my claim is that those are private things, and if I were to release even part of it right now, I would be reducing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not.
Besides that, if he shows the full hog,
So okay, just for everybody, I'm just gonna breeze through these pictures. If you look right here on the right side, it's got the date taken, 5/23/24, and the time. And so I'm just gonna go, and we'll just go one picture at a time here, and people can take a second and look at each one, pause it and verify. These are all taken around the same time, 9:30ish a.m. on the 23rd. None of them were taken on the 24th or 25th or 26th. In fact, they keep talking about this time that CPS came back in and took a bunch of pictures. CPS never did that. That's not a thing that happened. CPS came back, obviously, and did tour the house. The only thing they took a picture of is we had a decommissioned hand grenade that Caleb bought at a thrift shop because it was cool for a paperweight. And they're like, we think that might be a weapon. We have to check. It's like, stop being retarded. There's no explosives in there. But that's it. But you can see all of these have the same rough time of taking. I know this is a little laborious, but
well, Nick, while you're doing that,
it's good to show. It's on the record. It's on anyway. I guarantee someone will probably clip it and zoom in on it. That's how it works.
They should. I mean, that's why I'm doing it, is so that everybody can see. This one's at 10:16 a.m. It's a little bit later than the others. They didn't once they found the safe pretty early. They didn't crack it right away. But yeah. So there you go. That's all of them. Again, anybody who wants to say that these are from some follow-up visit where they took pictures, that didn't happen. I don't know what to tell you about any of that. That's just not a thing.
We're pulling 22 shells apart to dump the
people were that was fueled a lot by one of the things that was confiscated was listed as a mysterious brown substance. They didn't know what it was. They still don't. They don't know. It was DMT, but DMT isn't really detectable. It's not something that like they know how to test for. So they had some DMT, but I guess that that mixture of gunpowder and cocaine comes out like dark, obviously, because gunpowder is dark. And so there is speculation that it was something like that. But no, it was just DMT that I had acquired, but I never got to try, which makes me sad.
All right. If you want to stay, we got a couple super chats to read. Other than that, it's probably
I would, but I'm like 50 minutes past when I was gonna go. So I appreciate it, guys, and thanks.
Yeah, you gave us way more time than you said. You said an hour. You've been here for like 2 hours, so thanks a lot, man.
Invite me back sometime because I hate cutting visits short. It's just I'd also promised Kayla that I would hang out with her tonight. And
no worries, brother. Appreciate it.